Remember the days of your childhood? Be playing on your SNES, Game Boy, PS1, Dreamcast, 64. It doesn't matter. You finally finished some of your first games, you know? The feeling was awesome. Yet another game had been defeated. Trust me, I mean, we've all been there, as long as we played more than 3 games or so. I mean, you probably felt like the whole industry was at your fingertips. You could take on any game you chose. But you wanted to spread out a little bit. You wanted something with a little bit more substance than what you've been playing. Then all of a sudden, you're introduced into a familiar green dinosaur with a bottomless stomach. You know what we're talking about. We're talking Yoshi. Whether it was introduced to you from Super Mario World, wait, thank you, Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros., or Yoshi's Island, Yoshi had always been at the side of the Plumber Twins, you know? Aiding them in whatever way you could, ride on him, that kind of stuff. But how did it all start? It all started a long, long time ago. On an island.
Yoshi's Island is a great game. No, it's an amazing game, and it deserves all of its praises. But I'm sure none of you need me to explain the bulk of it. Beautiful art style, cheekily taken from a child's drawing pad, some of the most foot-tappinest music the SNES ever produced, and a simple but effective story explaining the origin of Mario and Yoshi.
Wait a sec. Mario and Yoshi?
This short, asinine review belongs to the duo with no name. This invincibility star belongs to the duo with no name. This cape belongs to the duo with no name. Danger fits them like a tight red cap. They are perhaps the most dangerous duo that ever lived. This plumber is played by Robert De Niro, and his steed by Daniel Craig. They're about to trigger a whole new style and adventure.
Well, if that wasn't drawn out, then I don't know what was. And of course, the controls have Festus himself forged upon Mount Olympus. But what are the little things that kind of fly below the radar? The things that aren't so often talked about that really wrap up this premium package. 3 or 2, depending how you view its subjects.
Oh man, you're throwing 3 things at me, man. I can't even handle 2 things right now, man. I can't even handle 2 things right now, and you're throwing 3.
Egg throwing, collectibles, and the end of level score.
Those aren't very overlooked at all though,
You say.
The egg throw was a massive staple of the game.
But to you I reply that there's so much about the egg throw that makes it a bigger than imaginable factor. Let's view Yoshi's Island from a distance.
Do you see what I did there? Yeah? See, I didn't.
It's essentially a platformer with puzzle and shooter elements. In classic Mario style, you jump on enemies to kill them.
How's at the bottom of my shoe, you little gumpy?
However, some enemies need a little something extra, as jumping doesn't always do the trick. What happens next needs a serious breakdown, so let's get to it. So you've got Yoshi, and you've got yourself an enemy. Now, when the egg is brought out, you can't aim backwards, so that's already out of the picture. You can jump and aim and fire, but it's not really optional because it's not exactly an easy thing to do. A lot of buttons you gotta press down unless you change the control configuration. So, most likely, you're gonna just stay there and aim, maybe move left to right a little bit to adjust yourself. What happens next is kind of like a mix between Atari Breakout and shooters like Contra. You have to use a little bit of intuitive geometry in order to hit your target, and that's the Breakout influence. The aiming is a bit like Contra in how you kind of have to react in real time to an enemy which you have to fire at. And because you're not really looking directly at Yoshi, you're more so looking around at the atmosphere, it really brings out the art style. And because of this, you're kind of forced to see all the great stuff aesthetically Yoshi's Island has to offer. And I believe this was planned out brilliantly. Secondly, the collectibles. Red coins, the flowers, and the little stars. The latter two have adorable smiles. I mean, just look at that. So cute. But what this does is adds an extra something to obtain by level's end, and is an essential part to attribute number 3, the end of level score. But before we start mixing drinks, let's talk about the placement of these collectibles, and might I say that Yoshi's Island got collecting spot on. You see, unlike older Mario games, Yoshi's Island has puzzles which are either used to continue on your path, or to get collectibles. The best part about the collectibles are that they're easily visible. That way, getting the collectible is completely up to your skill at the game. While still progressing through the level, some games will completely take you out of the game. Kind of like the new Devil May Cry. And some games just make you look in an obscure place for a very hidden item, like in Call of Duty. This way, there's no interruptions from Yoshi's Island. Just pure gameplay, keeping the pilot behind the controller on task and immersed. The amount of collectibles you get is tallied and added up to make 100%. Until everything is found, this gives us a reason to continue after the game is done. It urges us to keep playing by game's end, and gives us that goal. However, it's never necessary to collect anything at all. This acts as a set your own difficulty, or maybe just set your own intensity setting, making the game perfect for casual and hardcore players. Now before I let you go, I just want to add one last thing. This is the first Mario game with bosses that require a 2-level thought strategy. First, for most of the bosses, you have to figure out what will harm the boss, or how to lower its defense. Then after that, you gotta figure out how to harm the boss. Some, it just takes a simple egg, but then it changes up a bit. Some require angle shots, some require some out-of-the-box thinking, and some are just plain invincible at times. This was a big deal because this is the first Mario series game with such an intricate boss strategy. Now, yeah, Super Mario World had bosses, Super Mario 3 had bosses, but none of them were quite like this, where the boss had an idea to it. It wasn't just jump on its head, each boss had a different type of way to kill it, and I thought this was pretty revolutionary for the Mario series at least. Well, that's all I've got to say that hasn't been really said about Yoshi's Island. It's a fantastic game surrounded by fantastic ideas and aesthetics, and there's about 1 million reviews on YouTube, let alone the internet, about it. Because it's a great game, and I recommend it to anyone who hasn't played it yet. Seriously, go out and buy this game. Or at least get it for the Game Boy Advance, because it's got a fantastic port there too. Sometime it missed all of today's complicated, although sometimes amazing games. It's good to settle down with a simpler game, but a game that still makes you think. That game for me is Yoshi's Island. A game that takes place a long, long time ago. On an island. Hey there everyone, thanks for watching. I love you all. And I definitely recommend 2 videos to you this week. 2. First one is from my friend Posse. It's about a first glance review of an indie game called Gods Will Be Watching. The video's awesome, the game's awesome. Go watch it please. Secondly is a video from my man Gull of Doom. This is a sweet retrospective about Contra 3. But of course in Germany it was changed up a bit, and it kind of goes through the differences in his review, and it's also just a straight retrospective of the actual game. I recommend both. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great time until next video, in which I will renew that great time.